Picture this. Your 6-year-old just threw their toys across the room after you asked them to put them away. Your first instinct? Maybe to yell, "You always act like this," or "What's wrong with you?" But what if I told you that in those heated moments, you're actually damaging your child's developing brain? Today, I'm going to show you how to discipline your kids effectively without resorting to shame, punishment, or those words that cut deeper than any physical consequence ever could. Before we dive in, let me be crystal clear about something. This isn't about becoming a permissive parent who lets their kids run wild. This is about understanding that true discipline means teaching, not punishing. And the science behind this approach will absolutely blow your mind. Let's start with what's really happening inside your child's brain when you use shame-based discipline. Recent neurological studies using MRI technology have revealed something shocking. When children experience repeated verbal attacks, yelling, or physical punishment, their brains actually show the same response patterns as children who have experienced trauma or abuse. The areas responsible for emotional regulation and threat detection become hyperactive, leaving kids in a constant state of fight or flight mode. But here's the kicker that really got my attention. This type of negative discipline literally reduces grey matter in the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for decision-making, impulse control, and creative thinking. You know that self-control you desperately want your child to develop? You're actually making it harder for them to achieve it every time you resort to shaming or harsh punishment. Now, let me tell you what effective discipline actually looks like. Real discipline has 4 main goals. And if your current approach isn't achieving these, it's time for a change. First, it should modify your child's behavior for the better. Second, it needs to develop their character and internal moral compass. Third, it must protect their mental health and self-worth. And finally, it should strengthen your relationship with them, not damage it. Think about it this way. If you're using a disciplinary strategy that doesn't accomplish these 4 things, you're essentially using a broken tool to try to build something beautiful. It just won't work. So what doesn't work? Let me be brutally honest here. Discipline is not shaming your child by saying things like, "You're such a bad kid," or "You never listen." It's not yelling until your voice cracks and your neighbors know your business. It's definitely not hitting or any form of physical punishment. And surprisingly, it's not even reward systems where you bribe kids to behave properly. Here's why reward systems backfire. When you need to constantly reward a child for basic expectations, it means they don't understand why the behavior matters in the first place. You're creating external motivation instead of internal values. The difference between discipline and punishment comes down to this. Discipline impacts the thinking brain, while punishment targets the emotional brain. When you see environments where yelling, hitting, and shaming are common, you'll notice something interesting. Creativity is almost non-existent. That's because negative discipline literally shuts down the creative centers of the brain. Let me share something that might make you uncomfortable. That grey matter I mentioned earlier? The more of it your child has in their prefrontal cortex, the better they'll be at evaluating consequences and making good decisions. But here's the irony that should make every parent pause. The more you use negative discipline to try to teach self-control, the less self-control your child is actually capable of developing. Your children don't need to be fixed. They need to be shown how to regulate their emotions and set boundaries without breaking them. This is a fundamental shift in how we think about parenting. So how do you discipline without damaging? The first step is creating a healthy relationship with your child. This might sound obvious, but hear me out. You can only correct someone you can connect with. Connection without correction leads to chaos, but correction without connection leads to rebellion and resentment. Think about who influences your child most. It's not necessarily the person who spends the most time with them. It's the person they trust and respect most. If your child can't share their feelings about you, about others, and about themselves with you, then they don't trust you. And they'll listen to whoever they do trust, even if that's a character on television. Authority isn't about force and control. Real authority comes from respect and trust. If your child can't respect you and doesn't trust you, you've lost your authority. This is where many parents go wrong. They try to demand respect through fear instead of earning it through consistency and love. The next crucial element is structure. This is where most families fall apart. We want to hold our children accountable to standards we can't even hold ourselves to. We wait for them to mess up, then crash down on them like we're surprised by their mistakes. But where was the teaching? Where was the structure that would have prevented the problem in the first place? Discipline gives you the ability to create systems that help children grow and learn. But too many parents skip the teaching phase and jump straight to the correction phase. It's like expecting a child to pass a math test without ever teaching them multiplication tables. One parent told me they've been using non-punitive discipline for 11 years, and their children have developed amazing life skills. You don't beat skills into a child any more than you can beat mathematical concepts into their brain. Skills are taught, practiced, and refined over time. Here's something that might challenge you. Intentional parenting changes you first before it changes your child. The process starts with you examining your own reactions, your own triggers, and your own childhood experiences that might be influencing how you respond to your child's behaviour. Consistency is absolutely critical. When you use punishment, you actually lose the moral authority to allow your child to experience natural consequences. For example, if you spank your child for throwing a tantrum about candy in the store, then buy them the candy anyway, you've just reinforced the tantrum behaviour. The child learns that tantrums eventually get them what they want, even if there's punishment in between. Natural consequences are powerful teachers. If your child refuses to wear a coat, they get cold. If they don't do homework, they face the teacher's disappointment. These consequences teach lessons without damaging your relationship or your child's self-worth. Let me give you some practical tools you can use immediately. First, master verbal correction. This isn't just talking to your child. When giving verbal correction, start by validating your relationship. Say something like, "I love you, and that's why I need to talk to you about what just happened." Then address the specific behaviour, not your child's character. Talk about what they did right in the past, acknowledge the current problem, and explain why it matters. Never ask, "Why did you do that?" This question suggests there might be an acceptable excuse for unacceptable behaviour. Instead, focus on helping them understand the impact of their choices. Emotion coaching is another powerful tool. Emotions originate in the limbic system of the brain, and they act like an on-off switch for learning. Children who understand their feelings and can name them have significant advantages. They perform better in school, stay calmer under pressure, handle mood swings better, get sick less often, show more independence, and demonstrate greater creativity. Research consistently shows that emotional intelligence is a better predictor of life success than academic achievement alone. When you help your child identify and process their emotions, you're giving them tools they'll use for the rest of their lives. Here's something many parents struggle with: the difference between guilt and shame. When you focus on specific behaviour, children feel guilty about what they did wrong. Guilt, while uncomfortable, motivates children to repair their mistakes and make better choices. Shame, on the other hand, makes children feel like they are fundamentally flawed. Shame attacks their identity rather than addressing their actions. The language you use makes all the difference. Instead of saying, "You always mess things up," try, "I'm disappointed that you broke your sister's toy. What can we do to make this right?" The first statement attacks their identity. The second addresses the behaviour and opens the door for problem solving. Avoid absolute words like always and never. These words are rarely accurate, and they make children feel hopeless about changing. Instead of, "You never listen," try, "Right now, you're not listening to my instructions about cleaning your room." Don't label your children with negative characteristics. Calling a child lazy or stupid or difficult becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Children live up to the identities we give them, whether positive or negative. Here's what I want you to remember. Every interaction with your child is either making deposits into your relationship account or withdrawals from it. Shame-based discipline makes massive withdrawals. Connection-based discipline makes deposits while still addressing problems. The goal isn't to raise compliant children who only behave when someone is watching. The goal is to raise children with internal moral compasses who make good choices because they understand why those choices matter. This takes longer than quick fixes like punishment, but the results last a lifetime. Your child's behavior is communication. Before you react to misbehavior, ask yourself what they might be trying to tell you. Are they overtired, hungry, feeling disconnected, overwhelmed? Sometimes addressing the underlying need eliminates the behavior problem entirely. I know this approach requires more emotional energy from you as a parent. It's easier to yell than to teach. It's faster to punish than to problem solve. But easy and fast don't create the outcomes you really want for your children. Remember, you're not just managing today's behavior, you're shaping tomorrow's adult. Every time you choose connection over control, teaching over punishment, you're building a human being who will carry these lessons into their own relationships and eventually their own parenting. The children who grow up with this approach don't just behave better, they think more creatively, solve problems more effectively, and maintain healthier relationships throughout their lives. They become adults who can regulate their own emotions instead of depending on others to control their behavior. This isn't about perfect parenting, it's about intentional parenting. When you mess up, because you will, apologize to your child. Show them what accountability looks like. Model the behavior you want to see. Your children are watching how you handle stress, disappointment, and conflict. They're learning from your example whether they should approach problems with curiosity or defensiveness, whether mistakes are learning opportunities or reasons for shame. The science is clear, the methods work, and the benefits extend far beyond childhood. Your child deserves discipline that builds them up while teaching them valuable life lessons. And you deserve to enjoy parenting instead of constantly battling with your kids. So next time your child tests boundaries, remember, this is your opportunity to teach, not punish. To connect, not control. To build a relationship that will serve you both for decades to come. The choice is yours, and the impact will last a lifetime. Don't forget to grab the free download below. It turns today's insight into a simple step-by-step you can use in the moment.